On February 1st, 2015, Brattleboro Memorial Hospital, a small community hospital in rural Vermont, United States, received some shocking news. Somebody had just made a donation for $4.8 million. This was the largest donation in their history. Across town, Brooks Memorial Library announced that they had received another $1.2 million donation from the same person. Again, this was the largest in their history. In small-town Vermont, this was a huge deal. People started wondering, who was donating all this money? Who was this mystery individual? The person in question, as it turns out, was a quiet old man by the name of Ronald Reed. And this shocked the people of Vermont, because Ronald Reed was somebody that they knew. And Ronald Reed was the last person that they imagined would be a multi-millionaire. Because Ronald Reed worked as a gas station attendant, and then later down the line he worked as a janitor. He was never a hedge fund manager, he was never a doctor, he was never an engineer or someone who came from money or started a business. Ronald Reed wore flannel shirts. He drove a second-hand Toyota Camry. He had a jacket with no buttons, and instead of buying another jacket, he used a safety pin to hold it together. Nobody in their wildest dreams could have imagined that Ronald was a multi-millionaire. Which begs the question, how exactly did he make his money? Well, as it turns out, Ronald did two things incredibly well. He was a phenomenal saver, and he invested incredibly well. Ronald made a habit of saving a large portion of his paycheck and investing it on a regular basis. Now, he started before the index fund and the ETF, and so as a result, because he had none of those available to him, Ronald had to create his own portfolio and he had to pick his own stocks. He chose some of the biggest and most well-known companies in the United States, and he invested in them throughout his entire life on a very consistent basis. After his death, Ronald's portfolio was made public, and Wall Street Journal discovered that he owned approximately $500,000 worth of shares in Wells Fargo. He owned $365,000 worth of shares in Procter & Gamble and $252,000 worth of shares in Colgate. Altogether, Ronald, by the time he had passed away, had made a fortune of $8 million. And being the incredible man that he was, Ronald, at the end of his life, wrote in his will to give away most of his money to the local hospital and the local library, two of his favorite places. So what lessons can we learn from Ronald Reed? I came up with three things. Lesson 1. If you asked most people what they would do with $8 million, they will say things like, oh, I'll probably buy a Ferrari first, I'll get it in red or black. Or, I might buy some brand new pair of shoes. Or I might spend it on a luxurious holiday across the globe. This is called lifestyle creep. And it's a big reason why most people, even extremely rich people who make lots of money, end up losing everything or not having much saved for their retirement. Ronald was successful because he did none of these things. The money never changed Ronald. Throughout his life, he kept doing the basics really well. He continued to save and he continued to invest. According to his friends, Ronald's idea of spending a lot of money was heading down to the local cafe and buying a coffee and his favorite muffin. Now, you don't need to be that frugal unless that's what you're into and that's what you like. But it is important to still maintain that discipline of saving and investing. Lesson number 2, save and also invest. Ronald had the discipline to save money, but that's only one part of the equation. He also realized that he had to make the money work for him. You see, if Ronald had just saved his money, he would have lived comfortably, but he wouldn't have made the $8 million that he eventually ended up making. If he had just put that money into a bank account or stuffed it under a mattress, we would have never heard about him or his story, and the hospital and the library would have never benefited. Instead, Ronald makes sure that he saved his money to the best of his ability, and he also made sure that he made the money work for him. He invested regularly into good companies, and he made sure that those companies paid him a dividend, and as a result, he managed to amass a lot of money over the years due to the process known as compounding. Lesson number 3. Anybody can invest. As I said before, Ronald wasn't a rich Wall Street guy. He didn't come from any money, and he didn't start an incredibly successful business, which makes the fact that he became a self-made multi-millionaire even more impressive. And it's a reminder that you don't need a ton of money to start investing. Most of you can probably start investing now. Ronald is a reminder that you can start small, and through regular disciplined investing and saving, you can, through the process of compounding, end up becoming a multi-millionaire. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you around the next time.